All right, here we go. Check, check, making sure, check, check, the mic works. All right, let me check. Just trying to make sure this audio is working properly, and then we'll get going. Dang, I am loud. Let's fix that nonsense. Preamp, turn it. Check, check. Turn down. Check, check. That should be fine. Okay. Now we've got a more reasonable volume for everybody, and we're gonna dive into this. Okay. I appreciate y'all working with me as we're getting this live soccer live. So the plan today is I am going to film my next couple YouTube videos, but I'm going to do it live. I'm going to walk you through exactly what I'm doing, talk you through kind of the whole process, get your 2026 guitar stuff started off really well. So I'm going to do a couple like, hey, here's the hook for the song or the YouTube video. Here's, what we're going to do. And then I'll come back here periodically to check the chat to just see if there's any questions that I can clarify anything as we go. I know I've got this guy a little bit in front of the guitar neck. It's because I'm filming over here some stuff that's going on this paper. And so as I do that, I'll get rid of this. We'll move it here in a little bit as we move on to the other ones. But so the first thing that we're going to do is I have a student who is asking me about learning the song "Marry Me" by Train, and I thought that this would be a great idea to show you guys how I actually learn a song, what that looks like, what I do, how all that happens. So I'm going to raise my chair just a little bit so you can see the guitar better. Even if you can't see the top of my head, not as important. Okay, so I'm going to do the hook here, walk you through that, and then I'm going to dive in and start learning this song. Hopefully you all should be able to hear everything as I'm doing it, but you can let me know if there's a problem. Okay, here we go. Most people learn songs. The strap on my guitar is falling. Let's get that set up. Clearly, I'm not used to doing all these live, and I give myself a bunch of takes. Okay, let's see. Most people learn songs by guessing their way through tutorials, and that's why performing live, actually playing the song for other people, feels so scary. I want to show you the method I use to break down real songs. Let's see. Let me show you the method I use to break down real songs step by step so you can actually play the song with confidence. I am going to cover a lot in this video, so if you want help learning your first song or your 15th, you can join me for my 7-day guitar Kickstart challenge, absolutely free at skool.com/guitar. All right. Thank you for letting me get my hook in order. Let's dive into this song. So the first thing that I'm going to do is on my sheet of paper here, my trusty sheet of paper, I'm going to write down the name of the song before I dive into it. So let's see what we got here. Make sure I'm on the screen here. Okay, so "Marry Me." I know you guys aren't going to be able to see this. This is so I can cut it together later, but I'll keep showing you on the screen, and it's by Train. This is so when I come back to it later, I remember what the heck I was doing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to the song, and I'm going to I'm using Pro Metronome here. It's just a phone app, and I'm going to tap in the tempo. Two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to call it 92. That's probably a little quiet. I'm going to need to turn that up so I can hear it. Hopefully I'm not going to blast you guys a crazy amount. I'm going to hit play on that again and make sure it's not too loud. Long enough for me to feel like I've had long enough. All right, too loud, not loud enough. Let me know how that is in the comments for you guys. Okay, so I'm going to call that 92 beats per minute, and I don't know what key it's in yet because I haven't learned any of the songs yet, or I haven't learned any of the chords yet. But as I'm listening to that, what I'm listening for is things that I recognize in the guitar, at least that sound really familiar to me. And so that bass line, that lowest note, bum, bum, it sounds like it's just like one fret away and I can already hear that it kind of sounds like they're playing a C chord with an E in the bass, and then it goes to kind of an F chord. That's what I'm thinking the intro is. Now, if you've never learned a song before, you can absolutely look up what the chords are. I'm just showing you kind of my process here. I've played a bajillion songs, and so I recognize those chords because they're very guitar chord-esque, if that makes any sense. This guy right here, which I think is the second chord in the song, you hear it and you know it's that one. All right, let's see what we got. Yeah, and then it goes back to the cool. All right, so I'm going to pause it there. So I'm going to call that first chord C over E, and it lasts for one measure. So I just write that chord once, and then it goes to F, and I'm going to call it sus2. And then we do the same thing again, C over E to F sus2. Now let me show you guys. I'm going to change my screen here. So hopefully you can see this and it'll focus on that. So it says, "Marry Me" by Train, 92 beats per minute. And then I've got C over E to F sus2, C over E to F sus2. Each one of those lasts for one measure. That's my plan on that. That's why I'm doing it that way. Each one of these guys lasts for one measure. And that's our intro. So I'm actually going to write, just checking my camera here, I'm going to write intro here on the side, and then we get into the verse. So let's see what happens when we get to the verse.
Forever could never be long enough for me.
All right.
Feel like I've had long enough with you.
All right, so, okay. So as I'm listening to that, we're starting on a C chord. It's not, oh, I had muted my guitar. So we're starting on a C chord, but I don't hear the C over E. And I'm hearing the bass line descend, and then we end on that F sus2 chord again. So it starts on a really similar chord, but then we have some other stuff happening. I'm gonna hit play, and we're gonna listen along at the end when we get to this verse. Oh, not far enough back. Chord. Change. The top changes, but the bottom doesn't. Two chords pretty quickly, and then we end on that F chord. Okay, so we're starting on what sounds like a C chord to me. Then it sounds like we just go down one note to like a G over B chord, which is essentially we're playing our G chord that we know. Our lowest note just is this B, second fret on the 5th string. And then I'm hearing, I think it's 3rd fret on the B string. Let's listen to that again really quick.
Never been long enough for me.
Yeah.
Feel like I've had long enough with you.
And okay, so then it goes A minor to G, and then we end on that F. So I'm going to write this out, and then I'll show you what it looks like for me. So it's C. Then we have the G. I'm going to call that over B, and I'm not going to make any note about that top note. We're going to talk about that when we get to kind of the fingerstyle pattern. Hopefully we'll dig that in a little bit more. Then we do A minor and then a G. Now I'm going to show you that. I'm going to put parentheses around it because we're doing that in one measure, and then it's F sus2 that happens in there. So let me show you what this looks like. So we did the intro, now we're doing the verse. So we do C for a measure, G over B for a measure, and there's that little top line there. We'll get into that in a second. A minor to G, that's in parentheses because it happens on beat 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. And then we end with F sus2. So I'm going to play that just as chords. So I'm just kind of picking them as we go. So here we go. It's going to be C, 3, 4, G over B. Then we add that top note, A minor to G to F sus2. So the difference between playing like an F bar chord or like this kind of, F that we learned at the beginning and F sus2, when I play F sus2, I'm really just playing a C chord and then I'm moving my ring finger in front of my middle finger. So we play 3rd fret on the D, open on the G, 1st fret on the B string, and then you can add in that open E, that makes it a major 7, but then I'm curling my thumb around to play this on the 1st fret of the thickest string. So that's my F sus2 chord. All right, so basically what I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to map out the song, what's happening, where is it happening. That's my first step, is trying to figure that out. So let's listen to the rest of this verse. Here's that F sus2. I bet it repeats.
Get the world now, we won't let them see. But there's one thing left to do.
Yep.
Now that the weight has lifted.
Oh, that's just our intro.
Love has
This pre-chorus.
surely shifted my way.
Yep. Okay. So we listened a little further. We're doing the exact same thing for the second half of the verse that we did for the first half of the verse. I'm realizing I made a little mistake, or I didn't notice something. We could say that. I think that A minor is what I would call an A minor 7. And so when we play an A minor and we make it A minor 7, we just lift up our ring finger and we play, instead of A minor, we just lift up our ring finger from either an A minor chord, or we lift up our ring finger from a C chord, and that makes it A minor 7, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I'm hearing on that. And then we have a pre-chorus. So I'm marking that, and that's just going to be the same, C over E to F sus2, C over E to F sus2. Now, I'm not doing the world's best job of keeping these, but the idea is each one of these is a 4-measure section. And so I'm trying to have each measure kind of directly over it. I mean, you can see my first F sus2 up top is a little too far to one side and all that stuff, but let's call it close enough. Hopefully I'll be able to see that when I come back to it. All right. So now that we've got this far, before we get into the chorus, I'm going to dig in just a little bit, because I think I recognize what's happening with the right hand. So plays it twice. Yep. All right. So let's talk about that a little bit. I'm going to just go back and play the intro because we can hear it. Cool. All right. And then that pattern is just kind of repeating throughout over and over and over again, right? So it's going to be that same plucking pattern. So what we're doing, I'm going to start on this C over E chord. So I'm going to take my thumb, and my thumb's going to be responsible for my 3 thickest strings. My index finger is going to be responsible for the G string, and my middle finger is going to be responsible for the B string. Now, the very first thing I'm doing, I'm playing the C chord, but I'm trying to have an E in the bass. I'm going to pinch with my thumb and my middle finger, so the lowest string and string 2. And then I'm going to play thumb index on the middle 2 strings from the D to the G. And then thumb middle, thumb index. And the thumb's always alternating from the 6th string to the 4th string. That's our pattern. Now, when we get to a 5-string chord, we'll do the same thing, but instead of playing 6, 4, 6, 4, we'll play 5, 4, 5, 4. All right, so that's our pattern over and over again, whether it's 6 or 5. So that's going to be the same thing. I said we'd talk about that little top line in the verse. And so when we play the C, we're just playing the G over B without the 3rd fret on the B string, and then adding it in. Let me make sure that I'm right on that. We're right at the verse here anyway.
Forever could never be long enough for me. Feel like I've had long enough with you.
Yeah, cool. That's it.
Forget the world now, we won't let them see. But there's one.
All right, so I'm jumping to 43-ish because we're at the end of the pre-chorus. Okay, so let's talk just for a second about how we can approach this picking pattern a couple different ways. So the first thing is I'm just starting on that C chord where the verse would start, so the 5-string chord. When he's playing it, it very much sounds to me like he's going pinch, thumb on the 4th string, then index, thumb on the 5th string, then middle, and then thumb on the 4th, thumb on the 3rd string, or thumb on the 4th, index on the 3rd. But that last index, that last index finger makes it feel a little fast to me. So I think it would be easier when I'm first starting to learn it if I don't do that last pluck. So it would be pinch, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb. It doesn't sound quite the same, but it's really close. And that's going to let me practice this finger picking pattern. Kind of like when we're changing chords and we're doing strumming, it gives us this space to actually change the chord where we're not trying to fiddle with. So the difference is versus the slower way. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Now let's go ahead and we're going to listen to the chorus. So this is the same as the verse. I'm just writing this down.
If I ever get the nerve to say hello in this cafe, say you will. Say you will.
Okay, so now we have a post-chorus, which is the same as the pre-chorus.
Together could never be close enough for me. Feel like I am close enough to you.
Excuse me, sorry about that. Just had coffee, had to burp.
You wear white and I wear out the words I love you. And you're beautiful.
Pre-chorus again.
That the wait is over. Love has
And it's gonna hold.
showed her.
Yep. Chorus. Little piano coming in. Cool. Oh, little flute. Dang. Now we're getting sensitive. And then the post chorus should be the same as the pre. C over E to F sus2. C over E. Now I wonder if the song has a bridge. Whoa. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. We got weird there. So I'm going to call this song in the key of C. So I'm just marking this now. Key of C, 92 beats per minute. Let me show you what we got here so far. Hopefully you can see everything. Yeah, Marry Me, C in the top corner with my terrible handwriting, 92 beats per minute. That just says bridge. We haven't written that down yet. So I'm saying this is in C because we've got 3 major chords, C, G, and F. That's going to be 1, 4, 5, or our main chords in the key of C. So for me, I know that like, hey, as I'm doing that, that's going to be key of C. So I know what chords to expect. When we got to the top of that bridge, something funny happened. It was different. So let's give it a listen. Bum, 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 bum. Is it B flat?
Say you will. Promise me you'll always be happy by my side. I promise to sing to you when all the music dies.
All right. So okay, that's an interesting chord. So we have B flat, D with a G in it. So it's like kind of like B flat major 6. That's a fun chord to make there. It'd be really easy if I had a pinky. I don't have a pinky. You probably do. So you could do index on first fret of the 5th string, middle on first fret of the 2nd string, and your ring finger on 3rd fret, or ring finger pinky on 3rd fret of the 4th string. I just have to use my ring finger because I don't have a pinky. And then it goes just to over A. It's like an F sus2 over A situation. So it's really F add 9 over A, I guess. So anyway, B flat, A. And then it goes to a C chord. And then does it go to an F? I'm trying to hear what that one is. That's the one I'm not recognizing right away. Let's go a little further back. Ooh, I didn't go back far enough. Here we go. So we're going to call that, I guess, B flat 6. I'm going to call it F over A, C. No, I think it's G over B. All right, so this might not be right, I think, but it's we'll listen to that again, and they play it twice. See what we got here. So it's B flat, F over A.
You'll always be happy by my side. I promise to sing to you, know the music now.
Okay, so to the best of my ability, B flat 6, F over A, C, G over B, and then just as a little tag, we do that B flat 6 to F over A, and then we hold that, and then I think he goes C-H-O-R-U-S. How do you spell chorus, maybe? All right, let's see if that's accurate. Yep. Okay, so then we're gonna go to the chorus. So hopefully you can see this here. I've got the B flat 6, F over A, C, G over B. So I hope you're seeing that I'm not being like super religious about how I'm naming these chords or anything like that. It's just what's gonna jog my memory and get me connected back with the song, if that makes any sense. So then we do the chorus again. Let's just listen to the rest of this song. So it's the same here. Yeah, so C, G over B, A minor 7, G, F sus 2, G over B, C, sorry, A minor 7, 2, G. And then we have the post chorus, which is the C over E to F sus 2. Cool. Awesome. We'll pause that. So just to show you how I finished this guy out, I have the C over E, F sus2, C over E, F sus2. That last post chorus is just a little bit longer, and we got the bridge in there. So we've really gone over all the chords that we need to, because it's really based on the same thing. I think the main thing is I'm hearing this G string ring out throughout, right? We have the C over E has that G string, F sus2 has that G string, A minor 7, the G has the open G string, right? It's just kind of this string is ringing throughout. It's in the B flat chord. So that, I guess, F over A, and then we're going to C, still ringing out G over B, B flat. Okay, so now the big thing is, how am I going to do this? Oh, work cut out for you. Oh, hi, Rich. Yes, there's a lot to do with this song, but the idea is showing you kind of, okay, how are we breaking it down? So I'm making this chart. I'm doing it by ear because that's, how I've been learning music for a long time. But if you haven't been, if this is a new thing for you and you didn't listen to that and go, oh, that sounds like a C over E chord, you can absolutely get a chord over lyrics sheet. I would just recommend, instead of trusting whatever you see on ultimateguitar.com or whatever, you listen to the song, you go through it, and you write down, okay, how long does everything last? And I hope you see, I've got, well, I can hold it back here and it'll focus on this if I put it in front of my face. In parentheses means it's half a bar, beat 1 and 2, and then beat 3 and 4. And if it's not, it's just a full measure. So this is showing me how long everything is going to last, even if it doesn't show lyrics. Now, chords over lyrics are great. I'm not recommending you don't do chords over lyrics, but this is a really good way to see, okay, well, exactly what's happening in the song. This is everything that happens in there. So just like I always talk about, I want to reduce complexity, reduce complexity, reduce complexity. So what do I mean there? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, okay, of these chords, what do I need to practice? So the intro going from C over E to F, I'm probably not going to strum them. I'm going to pluck them with all 4 fingers, but I would start at 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4 to F sus2. And so I would do the intro that way, 60, 68, 72. I like to go up by 8s. I find 10s, 12s is a little big of a jump. 6, 4, 2 is a little not enough. 8 just seems, to be that sweet spot. And I'm trying to get to 92 beats per minute, 60, 68, 76, 84, 92, and I'll be there. So then when I do the verse, I would do the same thing where I'm playing the C, I'm doing the G over B, but because I know I'm going to have to put that extra finger down as part of that melody, remember when we get there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pluck 2, 3, 4 on beat 1, and on beat 3, I'm going to add that finger, A minor 7 to the G, because these each last half a bar, and then I'm going to stay on the F sus2 for a whole measure, right? And so I'm going to do that 60, 68. We're just doing that. Then the post-chorus is the same as the pre-chorus, so I'm not going to worry about doing that. I already practiced that when I practiced the pre-chorus, the post-chorus, the intro are all the same. So I just have to do that set once. Then the chorus and the verse are the same, so I only have to do that. The next thing gets into doing the bridge. So we have this B flat to the F over A, to the C, to the G over B. Now this is probably going to be the trickiest, especially for me with the 3 fingers and having to do this big ring finger stretch. So I might even practice this set of chords, but I'm going from F sus2 to this B flat. So I might add in doing this F sus2, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the B flat, 2, 3, and then back to F sus2. So that's the end of the post chorus to the beginning of the bridge, just because that's a tricky chord change that doesn't show up anywhere else in the chart. So I might do that all on its own. So those are really the only chord changes I have to do. Intro, pre-chorus, post-chorus are the same, verse, chorus are the same, and then the bridge, and then maybe getting into it. Now, each tempo I'm going to do for 2 full minutes, and I'm going to do maybe 60, 68, 76 for 2 minutes today. If I'm struggling, I'll do the same ones tomorrow. If I feel really good about it, maybe I'll speed up and try 76, 84, 92. Or if I feel kind of medium about it, maybe I'd start at 68, something like that. But again, 2 minutes the repetition. So why do I do this? I'm putting so much thought, so much effort, so much into the repetition because it's about muscle memory. Learning what to do with my ears, knowing what it sounds like, is not that hard. Knowing what to do with my brain, knowing where my fingers go, it's not that hard. But getting my fingers to do it, that's the trick. And repetition is the best way for us to do that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this finger picking pattern and I'm going to do it on a 6-string chord. So let's call it C over E. And I'm going to do it, same thing, 2 minutes at every tempo. And then I'm going to do it on a 5-string chord too. Just because it's a little different. I have the pinch on the 5th string and the 2nd string when I have a 5-string chord, and I have the pinch on the 6th string and the 2nd string when I have a 6-string chord, and I have to jump over that 5th string with my thumb there, which I don't when I do this chord. So I'm gonna do that again at 60 beats per minute. I'm gonna do it at 68, 76, 2 minutes each, and multiple repetitions of that, across days. Then what I would do is I would say, okay, now that I've got these guys all settled, making sense, I can do the chords, I can do the finger picking pattern. I'm going to start putting them together. I'm going to go back to 60 beats per minute and just do the one section, just the intro. And then same thing, once I feel good about that, I'm going to then go on to the verse. I left out one there, but that's okay. Now at this point, I've done maybe 2 or 3 days of just the finger picking pattern and just the chords, and I've sped up to 92. Maybe I'll go all the way to 100 a little faster than the song, so I feel pretty confident with it. I'm gonna go all the way back down to 60 to put them together. I'm reducing complexity. Now, one more thing I want to talk about as we're putting these things together. You can see how I do chords, I do the picking pattern, then I put them together. Then I would try to play the whole song along with the record once I got everything kind of up to tempo on its own. If I wanted to learn to sing it, I would treat that as a third thing. I've got chords, I've got my picking pattern, and then I have singing. So I have no idea what the lyrics are to this song because I have heard it, you know, in the grocery store on a music player, probably at weddings, but it's not one I've played before. So what I would do is when I'm ready to sing it, I would practice singing along with the recording. I would work on making sure I know the lyrics, I know the melody. And then I would go back to doing just the chords, not the picking pattern. And I would practice singing it slow. Oh, it's I don't really know how it goes. Right, I'm trying to make it super simple. And then even trying to do the finger picking pattern without the chords, just kind of on muted, which will sound really funny. But right, like, and again, I would have learned those things all separately, vocal, then the picking pattern, then the chords. And so I'm putting them together. And then again, 60 up to tempo, 60 up to tempo, 60 up to tempo. So we reduce the complexity, learn the thing, and then we reduce the complexity, learn the other thing, slow it down and put them both together. All right, so that is how we play Marry Me. If you want to learn a song exactly using this process, let me try to do that as an end of the video better. I'm at a point, it's how I've taught thousands of students. You can search for it on YouTube or it's on my channel. There won't be a thing for you to click, but I got to cut it in at the end of this video. So now that you know how I break down and learn songs, if you're ready to learn an entire song using this method, including the play along workouts, this video will take you from the beginning to the end. All right, I appreciate y'all letting me do that. Okay, so that was my first my first video. That one took a while because we were learning that. So let's do this guy here. I'm actually going to, if y'all will permit me a second, I'm going to go ahead and I've got another computer screen over here I could use that will make this, I think, a lot easier. And I need to turn off this camera. So I'm going to go ahead and get that guy stopped. Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to take this off, which is loose because I'm upside down. There we go. I'm just going to set that there so it's out of the way. I know I'm doing all this live and by myself like a crazy person, but it's what we got. I thought it would be more fun to do it this way. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. If y'all don't love me doing all this live, let me know. You want to only see the polished stuff when it's completely finished. You let me know. Okay, so this one we're going to talk about what to do when you're at a party, someone hands you a guitar, you've been learning to play, and they say, play something for us, and you got no idea what you're supposed to play. I'm going to give you something really, really fun to do here. So I'm going to do the intro real quick, and then I'm going to knock that out, and then we'll go on to it. So let's see. What am I doing here? All right, cool. Imagine you're at a party and somebody hands you a guitar. They know you've been playing and they say, hey, play something for us. But you get nervous and your mind goes blank. Well, today I'm going to teach you something really fun and simple that you can play and get everybody singing along with. By the end of the video, you'll have something that is relatively simple, super fun to play, and again, gets everybody singing along with you and super thrilled with your guitar progress. Let's jump into it. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with an open E chord. If you don't know an open E chord, we have first finger on first fret of the third string, middle and ring finger, second fret of string 4 and 5, and then we're just going to move this guy around. So this is our open E. So I know I'm moving fast with this. If you want any help or any support learning this particular pattern, what we're teaching here, or anything else, you can join me for my free 7-day guitar kickstart challenge at school.com/guitar. All right, so this is the E chord. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide this all the way up to 9th fret, right? If we have our middle fingers on 2nd fret, index on 1st, we're gonna have our middle fingers on 9th, index finger on 8th. And we don't want to strum that thickest string when we get up here. So it's just going to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So these are our first 2 chords. And we can just practice going back and forth between those a couple times till we feel pretty comfortable with it, right? So we're going to need 2 more chords. Good news, they're relatively similar. We're going to move this around. We got to slide 2 frets up to 11th. But we need to take our index finger, and instead of being on 10th, we need to go back to 9th. So we've got our middle fingers on 9th fret here. We're sliding up to 11th, index finger back to 9th. So we have 3 chords so far. E, we're going to call this next one B, as in boy. And this next one, up to 11th, back to 9th, C sharp minor. E, B, C sharp minor. And then we need 1 more chord. We're going to go back to where we're on 7th and 6th. So our finger isn't reached back anymore. We're back to our original shape. E, B, C sharp minor, original shape, middle fingers on the 7th fret, A. Those are our 4 chords. Okay, let me see if I'm missing anything. All right, now we need a strum in order to do this. So when we talk about strumming, most of the time we're going to count in groups of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to strum down as we count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we could practice our chords by just doing 4 strums on each one, but that's kind of boring. We want to have a strum pattern we can play that's going to make it sound and feel way more interesting and ultimately recognizable. So we're going to cut each one of those downs with an up. Those are called 8th notes, and we're going to say "and" as we strum up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now we're going to pick moments in there to strum and to do what I call a go strum, which is we're just going to strum in the direction we're supposed to be going on that count, down on numbers, up on ands. We're just not going to hit the strings. So our strum pattern is we're going to strum down, ghost. So 1, and is ghost, 2, and is strum, ghost on 3, and then and, 4, and is going to be strummed. I'm going to do it nice and slowly, all on this E chord. 1, ghost, 2, and ghost, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Now we're going to play that strum pattern 1 time on each chord. All right, let's see what we got. So now, if you want to, on beat 4 of this first chord, start singing about a small town girl who's living in a lonely world, everybody will likely start singing along with you. Just a small town girl, living in a lonely world. Right? Hopefully you are a better singer than me though. Now, if you want to learn an entire song, let's see. Yeah, cool. If you want to learn to play an entire song and not just a party trick, this video will walk you through it step by step with play along workouts to get you from beginning to playing confidently for and with your friends. All right, same video that I'm tagging there. I'm just pointing to where it's going to be in the next one. Okay, that was a lot faster of a video. Just a little fun, a little bit, you know, something exciting to play, something good to play at a party. That is, in my life, what I do for playing corporate events, weddings, thing like that. I always, always, always end the night by playing Don't Stop Believin'. If I think there's going to be an encore, that's the encore. And if there's definitely not going to be an encore, then we make that the last song. Okay. This one is going to be, we're going to do one more video about how we think about practice, especially when we only have a little bit of time. So, excuse me. Let me break into that. Okay. You finally get 5 minutes to practice, but you spend 4 of them trying to figure out what to practice. Here's what to do every single time you have the guitar in your hands so that 5 minutes actually makes a difference. So I want to break down exactly what we're going to do when we only have a few minutes to practice. So the number one thing you need to do is you need to have a plan. So what does that mean? So you want to choose a simple warm-up, a chord change, a lick, a scale, something that you're working on that when you sit down to grab the guitar, you're going to start playing that thing. Think of it like when you go to the guitar store and you try out like 5 or 10 guitars and you play the exact same lick over and over again on every guitar. But instead of the most comfortable lick that you have, you're going to play something that's difficult, that's challenging, that's trying to stretch your playing. And I want to go over exactly how to pick that. So here's how we pick the one thing we're going to play when we sit down with our guitar. I want you to think, what is your number one struggle on guitar right now? What is the one thing that if you could do it, you would be able to play another 5, 10, 20 songs? Now, it could be that your left-hand fingers don't listen to your brain when you tell them what to do. So you might do an exercise like a spider exercise where you have all your fingers down, 1, 2, 3, and then your pinky. I don't have a pinky, you probably do, so we would put that down too. And then you're going to move each finger one at a time to really connect your brain to your fingers. You're sending each finger a signal. 1 gets the move signal, 3 get the stay put signal, right? Maybe it is strumming. So you practice strumming really light, like somebody's in the next room that has a baby sleeping that you don't want to wake up, so that your pick doesn't turn in your fingers and you can develop the control over your strum to have the volume you want, the attack you want, the tone you want, because strumming is the thing that's holding you back. It could be bends in your solo that are holding you back. So you pick a lick to play that works on your bends and forces you to play them more and more in tune. Let's see what else we got. The idea is you want to pick the one thing that's your biggest weakness, and you want to build the habit of every time you walk past the guitar, you pick it up and you work on that little thing for just a few minutes. If you default to working on the thing that you're struggling on, your biggest weakness will become your biggest strength, and you get to pick a new biggest weakness. And on those days that you really don't even practice, you just play guitar as you pass, you're going to make so much more progress, because instead of noodling on your favorite song or your favorite lick, you're going to work on improving your biggest weakness, turning it in to your biggest strength. Now, if you have no idea what your biggest weakness is right now, you would say, hey, I'm not even sure. I would be happy to help. You can join me for free in my 7-day guitar kickstart challenge at school.com/guitar. And you can ask me directly and I will give you an answer and say, hey, for you right now, this is what you need to work on. I would be more than happy to dive in the weeds with you and help you get that figured out. All right, let's see if there's anything else I am missing. Okay, so that's the plan. We figure out our biggest weakness. We find an exercise that works on that. We make it a habit to do that every day. When it's no longer our biggest weakness, we change the thing that is our habit, and we keep doing that in a loop. Now, if you want something to practice right now, this is the exercise I teach to all of my beginning students that you can do for 2 minutes, and it will make your left hand way more confident. All right, so that's the spider exercise. If you just search Guitar Gym Pro Skyrocket on YouTube, it'll be the first one that pops up. The thumbnail's got the like X's and checks and all that nonsense in there. Okay, I think we have time to do one more. I think we got one more. All right, let's give it a shot. I've got another outline. Okay. See what we got here. Yeah, we're gonna do it. Okay, so basically this is me. I'm going to talk about why learning one song, your first song, is the most important thing to work on. Learning a song is the key. When you can play one song, it changes everything as a guitar player. You go from feeling like a beginner to being an actual guitar player. So yeah, absolutely. Oh, let's see. Seems very doable. Yes, it is very doable, right? Like having that habit, for me, it's always every time I like get up to go use the restroom, I pass by, the room that I use as my little studio, and I walk in and I play something to work on my biggest weakness. And I see Jake Yakes is saying 16th notes, which yeah, exactly. But if you think about it, right, like how many repetitions do you get when you're practicing? If every time you practice or every time you pass the guitar, you're playing 1 E and 2 E and till it's second nature, you'll feel great about it. And then you can make up patterns: 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and you're building yourself little things to practice, little things to work on. All of a sudden 16th notes become, man, really comfortable, really easy, that kind of a thing. Okay, let's talk about learning one song and how that is going to change everything. Oh, one more comment. Oh, left hand stamina. Okay, I can't leave. Anytime we talk about left hand stamina, I have to talk about this. So there are two things that are usually silent killers of our left hand stamina that we don't think about, that we don't consider, and so we try to fight to figure this out. Okay, the first one is your guitar itself. Now, I don't love blaming our equipment, but the truth is this guitar used to be a tree, and this guitar still wants to be a tree. And if I don't do anything to keep it from going back into being a tree, it will return to being a tree, right? And so what that means is the strings are pulling on the neck and it's coming forward. Over time, it's going to do it more and more. The neck itself is going to bow. We have this long piece of wood. They're relatively thin, so they're comfortable to play, right? This is a thing that we actually need to take some time and think about. Now, there's 100 videos on YouTube at school.com/guitar. Ask Ricardo Ponce. He will tell you how to fix your guitar. He is great. He has helped me fix like 3 different guitars that I have. He knows his stuff. You can do this. It's not super hard to do. It's also, $40 to $60 to take it to a pro to have them set it up. But making sure that your guitar is set up means that your strings aren't too close to the fingerboard. They're not too far away. There's not a weird bow in the neck that you can't see, but you can feel that you're not having to try harder than you need to play the guitar. I will tell you, Jake Yakes is here. I know that I talked to him for months and he finally got his guitar set up and he was like, oh my gosh, everything is easier now. And maybe that's not your problem. Maybe your gear's in perfect working order, but that's the first thing. If you're like, man, my left hand stamina, ask yourself, when was the last time I set up my guitar? And if it's been more than 6 months, it's 2 Allen key turns, but you just got to know where they are and you got to know which direction to do. So I cannot recommend that enough. That's thing one. Thing number 2 is tension. Tension is the enemy of all guitar playing, right? We want to get rid of tension, but very specifically, most of us squeeze much harder than we have to. So if I haven't given you this exercise, this is the exercise you should do to help reduce tension in your left hand and your fretting hand. Pick a note anywhere. I'm going to do 3rd fret on, let's say, the 5th string, like I'm about to make a C chord. I'm going to use my ring finger because that's what I would do for the C chord. I'm going to touch this string and I'm going to get a thunk. I'm not pushing it down at all. I'm getting a thunk on purpose. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly start to add pressure until I get a clean, clear note. You'll hear it's thunky, it's buzzy, and then I get a clean note. When I do that, it takes shockingly less pressure than I think. And for me, I've been playing for 24 years. I've been working on this. I still squeeze harder than I need to. So I can guarantee you, if you've been playing for 10 years or 10 months or a few weeks, you're probably squeezing harder than you need to too. So resetting that in your mind and realizing I'm really trying to squeeze. Now, here's the reason that we squeeze so hard. When we're first playing, we grab a chord and it sounds buzzy. And then we squeeze harder and it sounds less buzzy. But watch my hand when I squeeze harder. Less hard, squeeze harder. My hand moves into a more optimal position. I get on the tip tops of my fingers. I get out of the way of the other strings. Beautiful. But we think, and what we did was we squeezed harder because that's our natural tendency. So we build that habit of squeeze, squeeze, squeeze to get a chord to ring out more cleanly. And most of us, we do this for the first 2, 3, 6 months that we're playing, sometimes years. I know I did. And so the idea is we need to really build the habit of when we get a buzzy chord, we don't think I need to squeeze harder. 99.9% of the time, it's not squeezing harder. And if it is squeezing harder, it's probably an equipment problem. What we need to do is we need to get more on the tip tops of our finger. We need to get more space in our hand. We need to get away from the other strings. And I can squeeze very lightly, but still get my chord to ring out very cleanly. So if you want an exercise to help get on the tip tops of your fingers, that same video I was talking about at the end of the last one, I'm going to do a shout out to it because I'm going to make this guy a video too, because I love talking about this exercise. That one will absolutely help. It's this exercise will skyrocket your playing in 2 minutes a day, something like that. It's one of my 3 or 4 most popular videos. That's it. That's going to teach us to get on the tip tops of our fingers. And you can practice doing it very, very lightly, where you're intentionally, I don't usually say pluck the strings, but you could to practice how lightly you are. So if you want an exercise that's going to help you gain control of your left hand fingers, stop your chords from buzzing and allow you to play very lightly, you can find it here. Okay, now let's get crazy. We're going to try one more. I'm going to do the learning songs video. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Learning one song changes everything for you as a guitar player. Learning one song in its entirety beats learning 5 or 50 songs only 40%. And that's because learning one song teaches you to learn all the things you need to play guitar in context. So let's break down why we need to do it and how to make it happen. All right, so the first thing is, so often when we're learning to play guitar, we think we need to learn theory and chords and scales and names and strings and techniques. And while those things are all true, we got into playing guitar because we want to learn songs. We want to play songs. We heard something that moved us and we wanted to play that for somebody, for ourselves, whatever. And so all those other things, chords and scales and theory and techniques, all those fall inside songs. They're tools in a toolbox to play songs. So think about it if you wanted to work on a car. You don't just buy all the tools and set them up in the garage and polish everything and make your garage look pretty. You look at your car and you say, okay, well, what's the problem? Why doesn't this run? Why doesn't this do what I want to do? And then you go buy the tool to fix that. And yes, let's put it away properly. Let's store it well. Let's get a really cool tool chest for it. That's what all our exercises are for. But ultimately, we want to fix the car. We want to learn the song. So we want to make sure that the tools that are going into our toolbox are useful for fixing our car or learning the song that we want to learn most. All right. So the biggest thing is you don't want to be somebody who practices guitar. You want to be somebody who plays guitar, and you practice in order to play, right? It's called playing guitar. It's not called working guitar. It does take work to do it, but it should be fun. All right. So what should your first song look like? If you've never played a song in its entirety, even if you know tons of tricks and you have a pretty big toolbox, I recommend that you pick a relatively simple song. A song that has maybe 2 or 4 chords in it, a song that has 1 or 2 strum patterns, and a song where the verse and the chorus and whatever the sections of the song have a really similar or even the exact same guitar part, just a different vocal melody over the top. What we're trying to do is reduce complexity, make it as simple as possible to go from not playing a song to being able to play a song along with the recording. Now, if you're not sure at all what song you should pick, I have all the tools for you, and you can do it in my 7-day Guitar Kickstart Challenge, absolutely free, at school.com/guitar. I'll give you songs to work on, the workouts to do, everything that you need to succeed. But the trap most people fall into, so let's talk about this. The trap that I see students fall into, and I remember I had this student, his name was Bill, and he was a bass student, but he'd been playing for like 3.5 years when he came to me for his first lesson. And he had been working on scales and theory and technique. And I mean, he had like 3 books that he had completed. He had worked with another teacher, and this guy could play. And as he's showing me these things and he's talking about how he's playing, you know, B flat major pentatonic and what you might play over this chord or under this chord, I stopped him. I was like, okay, cool. But like, what songs are you playing? Like, what kind of music? And he was like, oh, well, I don't know if I'm ready to learn songs. And I was like, what? You've been playing for 3 years. I wouldn't let you go 3 weeks without diving into a song. The thing was, Bill was an engineer, he really cerebral guy, and he really dug and got into doing the exercises, which was awesome. But most of us, and me certainly, we're not like Bill. I can't just run exercises for no reason. I got to know where I'm going with it. Now, that story ends well. Bill learned like 3 Motown songs that day. We got him playing with the record, using all the theory that he knew. It's not that that's wasted time. That's going to make you better at guitar. When you're not sure what to practice, when you're learning, we want to make sure, okay, why am I doing this? What song is this for? How am I going to get from where I am to where I want to be? And where you want to be is playing that song that made you pick up the guitar in the first place. All right, so let's see. What else do we have? Okay, so basically we're going to do this in 3 steps. The first step is to pick the song, and the goal is to make it easy. I would rather you pick a song that's really easy that you learn in 2 or 3 days than a song that's too hard and you get burnt out because you're 3 weeks into it and you haven't even really learned how the chorus goes yet. So we're going to pick a song that's easy. Now, here's the beauty of this. Every time we learn a song, all the tools that we need to learn that song go into our toolbox. Then when we go to our next song, we open that toolbox and those tools are there. So we don't have to relearn a lot of the things that we learned. If we went from, a G chord to a D chord to an A minor chord, learning Knocking on Heaven's Door, when we come across those chord changes in another song or a similar strumming pattern, that's already in our toolkit. All those songs become things we can learn very, very quickly because we took the time to learn this one slow and steady. Okay, so step 1, picking an easy song you will actually be able to learn. Step number 2 is you're going to break it into miniature parts. I say reduce complexity. We want to learn the chord changes. We want to learn the strumming pattern. Separately though, right? I want to make sure, can I strum on beat? Can I change the chords on beat? And then I slow back down and I learn them together. So I want to learn each thing separate, then together. So I always start at 60 beats per minute. I like to go up in 8s. I find 10 or 12 is too fast. 6 is a little slow. So 60, 68, 76, 84, 92, and so on until I hit the tempo of the song or a little faster. And then I just slow it down to the speed of the song. The idea is I learn the chord 60 and then on up. I learn the strumming 60 and then on up. And then I come back to 60 and I put them together. Now, I do each of those tempos for 2 minutes. Now, it doesn't feel a lot of the time like I really need to stay at 60 beats per minute when I'm doing the strum or when I'm doing those chords first. But the truth is those repetitions are building the muscle memory that we need. It's really easy to understand what to do to have the head knowledge, but to get the hand knowledge, your hands to just do it the second you think it, that just takes time. And so those slower repetitions really, really, really build that into our long-term memory. All right, so step 3 is we're going to take those bits that we turn into exercises and we're driving towards that song. We learn the chords in the order we need them for that song. We learn the strum pattern that we need to go with those chords for that song, and then we put them together slowly, and then ultimately we have everything we need for the song. We hit play on the record on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Music or whatever you use, and we just play along. And then once we can play along with the song, it's time to go back to step 1 and pick another song to work on. We keep playing that song we learned along with the record every day, every other day for a while until it really gets in our long-term memory, till it really gets in our long-term memory. Stumbled over my words there. But the idea is we want to get to where we can play it 80%, 85% right and move on to the next song. That's because you're never going to be perfect. When I play now, I notice mistakes. Now, the audience probably doesn't. A lot of times the band doesn't, but I know I didn't want that bend to be quite so wide or my vibrato to be quite so fast, or I played a chord a little bit buzzy, or the mistakes get smaller and smaller, but you don't notice them any less. So you could be in the weeds learning a song for years, ultimately struggling to get it perfect, when in reality, learning 3 more songs would make that song way better than it already is because you're learning new skills, putting more things in the toolbox that you didn't realize that you needed. All right, so I really think that I closed off pretty much all that. I hit all the points. Yeah, so pick one song today, make sure it passes the test of the appropriate amount of simplicity, that you've only got 2, maybe 3 new skills in that song, and start working on it. Now, if you're just starting out, or even if you've been playing for a while and you're not sure where to start, this song will get you started with play along workouts exactly how I teach them. Now, again, that was just me throwing it for the video. I'm going to edit later, but you guys can find that. And if you want, shoot me a message, school.com/guitar. You can get in free, shoot me a DM, and I will send you a link to anything if you're like, hey, I can't find it and I'm not sure where that is. All right, that was everything for today. Everything I wanted to hit. I know it was a little bit crazy trying to get everything set up, but I appreciate you guys coming to hang out. I appreciate you watching live. This video will be up. I'll cut it into 3, 4, 5 actual videos, and I'll post those throughout the next couple weeks. So again, if you guys have any questions, anything you need help with, school.com/guitar. You can get a hold of me really easy. You can get in free, join us for that 7-day Kickstart challenge, and ask me any questions that you have, whether it's about your picking or your strumming or your chords or what song to work on or what your biggest weakness is. I am here for you. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday.